Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 150. That's correct. 150 episodes of the Hoots Podcast, formerly known as the Lopez Wrestling Podcast. Thank every single one of you good brothers and good sisters around the world who's taking the time out of their schedule to listen to 5 minutes, a full show. Hell, even a minute, even if a clip I put on Instagram of the podcast. Thank you guys so much for giving us a chance. Try something new with our show and a different style of pro wrestling talk that we do every single week. It's been a pleasure and honor to have this project, and it's something that I put a lot of time in. I pride myself in what we bring to the table when it comes to this show. Same thing goes with Adam as well. We're grateful for all of you. We're very grateful and humbled by the support. And we're celebrating 3 years of the Hoots Podcast. A couple weeks ago, I got to reflect a little bit about my journey as a broadcaster. And it's always comes around WrestleMania season. You know, I started broadcasting school in 2013 before WrestleMania 29, which is actually in the same stadium where this year's WrestleMania is going to be. And here we are again, 3 years later, after I left WrestleZone.com and I stopped doing the Pro Wrestling Experience. Here we are 3 years later. We have the Hoots Podcast. It's getting national exposure. I want to give a shout out to my mentor, Jonathan Hood, for having me on his radio show this past Tuesday night to preview WrestleMania this year. Very humbling to have Hoodie bring me on those airways to promote the show. So we'll give a shout out to Hoodie. You heard a little snippet of that in the beginning part of the podcast this week. And it was a fun conversation. If you want to hear the full conversation I had with Hoodie, make sure to go to the Under the Hood podcast with Jonathan Hood, or type in Chicago Game Night on the ESPN app and you'll find it for yourself. Anyways, some business stuff to get out of the way. As always, make sure to subscribe to the Hoot Podcast on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Make sure to bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. I'm at Twitter and Instagram at the Hoots Podcast. And my brother from another mother, the one and only Adam Daley's on Instagram at AdamDaley13. What's going on, my man?
Josh, what's up? And listen, and everyone listen, I apologize that we taped this on YouTube and then Josh has to put it over. And I know, and Josh, I apologize because I know I'm making more work for you, but it's just I work so much. I don't have time. Like, I haven't even downloaded any of the new software that I need for like our show on the new computer yet. So, like, I know nobody watches this on YouTube. And if you do watch this on YouTube, thank you, because that means you're listening live, and that's crazy that you're doing that. So to take time out of your day to listen live is actually, you know, it's awesome that you do that. But yeah, you know, eventually we're gonna obviously stop taping on YouTube. It's just for convenience of time, and you know, again, 168 hours in a week. And you know what, Josh, before we toss it back over, you know, it's something I always like to like put things into perspective, you know. And I know this is something you're going to touch upon later on, and we're going to have a conversation about, but
right.
I preach on here about like 168 hours in a week and like how much I dedicate to work. And like, you know, and listen, I'll admit sometimes work-life balance does not work in, you know, in your favor. You're working a lot more than you'd like. Yeah. But so I found out that, and I heard on, I think it was maybe Seth Meyers last night or something. There's theaters running, because I ranted about this maybe last week or the week before. There's theaters running leading up to Avengers Endgame. Every single movie.
Yes.
Leading up to it. It's 59 straight hours. Can I please tell you something? If you have time in your life to watch 59 straight hours of a Marvel series, you have a job, not a career, because there's not in a million years I'd be able to pull that off. Number two, I don't want to hear anybody complain about the length of WrestleMania, which is something that we're going to talk about.
Right.
When there's people like, yeah, I'll do that. You're mental. You're insane. I'm not saying don't be a fan of it. I'm not hating it, because I'm going to end up watching Endgame eventually. But to sit through, it's like when people are like, I'm going to go watch all the Harry Potter movies and then the new one, when that was still like a thing or whatever. I'm not hating on the Harry Potter series. What I'm saying though is, like, it's hard for me to get even like excited for a movie anymore, because I'm thinking, oh man, what else could I be doing? Like, I know I just got too much on my plate, you know, and I can never like really stay focused in a movie. That changes October 4th when Joker comes out. We're going to talk about that at the end. But I don't know, man. I want to get your thoughts on that, and I guess that's maybe a good segue into some, with intros and stuff like that. It'll be a good segue into our opening topic. But 59 straight hours leading into Avengers Endgame, and I didn't see the trailer. I saw like a commercial, so I get the gist of what's going on. But what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, if every single weekend you could have a family member, maybe they don't watch wrestling or anything like that, but they'll spend 9 hours on a Sunday or Saturday binge watching something on Netflix, one of their favorite shows. So it's easy for you to go nonstop, no breaks in between during these binge watching sessions. You could watch WrestleMania. I'm kind of the wrong person to speak on this because I'm just numb to it when it comes to longer shows. It doesn't bother me. It's kind of different. Like, this is the biggest show of the year. A regular show for New Japan Pro Wrestling has six undercard tag team matches that each last 10 to 15 minutes each. On a regular show that may not even be the biggest show of the year, it'll go 4.5 hours. So the time limits of the show doesn't bother me anymore. It hasn't for the last couple years, to be honest with you. I was talking about this earlier today on my sports talk show, The Sports Drive, that this is my Christmas. For me and any wrestling fan out there, this is the best time of the year to be a wrestling fan. To watch WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year, no matter what company it is. And whether you're full go with the card or whatever, and we'll talk about it as the show goes on, it's always worth my time. I was at WrestleMania last year in New Orleans. It was a launch show. I made it through it with Brother Carter, and we had a good time down there. So length of shows are the least of my worries because it's just hypocritical. People will wait a couple weeks after Game of Thrones, the last season comes out in a couple weeks, right? And they'll binge watch. They'll spend their entire weekend watching nothing but Game of Thrones, but you can't watch a 5-hour main edition of WrestleMania. But what do I know?
I guess I look at it this way too. At least here in America, I know we have people listening all over the world, and we appreciate it. Shout out to you, Nick. But here in America, we have people that will wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, get all their NFL pregame in for 4 hours to 4 or 5 hours.
Correct.
If you live on the East Coast,
yep.
Games start at 1 o'clock. Then they'll watch the game that goes on between 1 and 4. And if they have the Sunday ticket, they'll flip between, or they'll keep NFL Red Zone on, which you're trying to watch all the games. And then at the 4 o'clock slot, you're doing the same thing, keeping up with fantasy football, watching all the games, trying to get it. Basically, every single Sunday for the length of the NFL season, you're watching football on Sundays. I don't, but most people that are complaining about the length of WrestleMania do. And that's from early in the morning until after the Sunday night game, if you choose to stay up for it, almost midnight. So, it being a once-a-year event, it being the Super Bowl of wrestling, it being the biggest, spectacle and entertainment,
mm-hmm.
I'm not – the length of it doesn't bother me either. And actually, the runtime doesn't bother me as well. This is like again, it's a once-a-year event. It's not something that every week we're getting this. On the flip side, I'm not one of those people like some people, and this is going to sound really bad. And again, people don't take it the wrong way. I'm not glued to my seat where I feel I can't miss something, and I'm not trying to say bathroom break match. It's not, but if I miss a segment, it's okay. It's a 5-hour show. Everyone's complaining about the length. Sometimes you got to get up, go to the bathroom, cook a little something, just, move around, talk to people, I can see where when you're just sitting there, maybe watching it at home alone or something like that. And just, I get that. And I know some people, some people that are listening to this, you do, you probably do watch it by yourself because, I get that. But you're not, no one's forcing you to watch all 5 hours either. And the pre-show, it's not something, Vince isn't coming in your house and tying your hands behind your back onto a chair. It's not like this is Get Out and Linda's sitting there like, yes. You will watch WrestleMania for 8 hours because I just left Trump's cabinet. Never mind. I guess I hope anybody gets the Get Out reference, but but that's my point though, is that nobody's forcing you to watch all 5 hours. If it's I just feel it's reason for people to complain. You got to understand that major events now, corporate events especially, are going to be lengthy. And you brought up a good point, though, Josh, too, about how when you look at the main card, the number of matches kind of mirrors other events with other organizations, yet people don't complain about those, you know?
Yeah, and we're talking a little bit about this before we came on air today, that we have 3 matches on the kickoff show. It's going to be a 2-hour kickoff show this Sunday on the WWE Network. And you have 2 battle royals. Battle royals are, in essence, time fillers. So I never noticed a battle royal that dragged. Even Royal Rumbles, you know, it's weird. It's the one gimmick match that you're not really necessarily caring about the time of it, because towards the end of the Battle Royal, that's when all the cool spots happen, fast-paced eliminations and this and that. That's always happened. So you have 2 different Battle Royals, one for the men, one for the women. We'll talk about that later on in the show today. And you got the Cruiserweight title match. So you got 3 matches on the kickoff show this Sunday. And then you have 12 matches on the main show. So WrestleMania 20 in New York had 14 matches. There's been other WrestleManias that have had 10, 22, had 12 matches. Want to throw that out there.
Wait, so both Battle Royals are on the pre-show?
Yeah, both Battle Royals are on the pre-show this year.
And please, not to interrupt, hold your thought for 1 second. Let me just toss a quick point out there. For everybody getting so upset and just angry and for some reason you got real in your feelings about Michael Che and Colin Jost, understand that match is going to happen when they're broadcasting live on the USA Network, because it's called synergy within corporate, you know, within their networks. And none of you are going to be like the people that were barking the loudest about how this is a terrible idea. We're never going to watch this match to begin with.
Right.
So once again, I know you guys don't like hearing this, but love it or hate it, because listen, I might be complaining again if it was, I don't know. I mean, I like Che and Jost. That's why, you know, but even if it was whomever, take 2 people. Listen, there's a lot of people I hate that WWE forces down our throat, Kid Rock. But anyway, we deal with it and we move on. Donald Trump. Right. So we just keep going. I don't know. There was a character from SNL called Mr. Subliminal, really funny. But if you know, they've had a lot of people that I've never wanted to see in WWE, Macaulay Culkin. But we could keep going and going and going. The point is that it's just that Macaulay Culkin looked like he was on heroin at the time. But my point being, my point is, none of you are going to be watching this match. That's other than people that are A, interested in the comedic side, B, people to think that Gronk's probably going to get involved because he might, because Jost made a Gronkowski joke on Saturday Night Live this week. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe somebody showed up in SNL. They're going to be in New York. It's again, there's going to be a couple tie-ins. There's reasons why they're doing this. They're trying to pull ratings over to the USA Network. It's not, this one really isn't about the fans. We don't watch it. We just don't. The bubble doesn't. This is for the casual fan that wants to see wrestling blend with entertainment, kind of like back in the days when they did this with MTV and Cyndi Lauper and Captain Lou Albano had their, you know, and they were kind of, and Andy Warhol was on WWE television. So yeah,
Flo Rida and Wiz Khalifa are not going to get involved in the Battle Royal.
But you know what? That's the thing though. I would probably be like, oh man, really? You know what I mean? But at the same time, why not? I don't know. I just think that's where people get too hypercritical about this match, knowing that it's not like this was going to be before the main event of Mania. You know, like it's not like Che and Jost are taking someone's spot here, guys.
One of the best moments of the Royal Rumble was Nia Jax taking 3 finishers during the next Royal Rumble match.
And
it's
one of the
that serious.
Right? No, it's not. We're still supposed to be able to have some fun with all this too. Seriously, wrestling is better than what you like.
Hornswoggle chasing Zelina Vega around, another guy they bring back a lot. Hornswoggle, he got one of the biggest pops of the show. It happens every time.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter how
every time it is. Yep. So before we get to our other topics we want to get to for this week's podcast, like I said, 3 years of the Hoots Podcast. Any thoughts on that, brother? As he
Oh, let me unmute my mic there. I'm sorry. Yeah. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. You know what, man? It's funny. Like, you know, we kind of touched upon it the other week though, but I don't know, like 150 episodes is wild. And listen, you know, I've done a ton of these shows and stuff like that, and it's, you know, I've worn many hats in all this stuff, but you know, like I've always told people, like, this is kind of when you find something that you want to do, like, stay at it. You know, because it can turn into reflecting back, you know, just all the work, the hustle, the grind, the you know, and not getting paid for any of it ultimately could land you a job where that job then does become a career, which in turn then your next thing you know, you're hiring people, and the next thing you know, so you know, I don't think 3 years ago when we started this, I envisioned myself 3 years later, where I was, you know, a week away from being a guest speaker at a local high school to talk to them about career opportunities in what I do for a living. And I don't think I would be, you know, hiring people on as my assistant. See, even my dog's excited about this. I like to say assistant. I don't like to say intern. That sounds degrading. Lackey sounds real bad, but I kind of want to do that. But no, I'm totally kidding. But, you know, but being able to bring an assistant in is really, really, you know, I feel like that's a number one I'm grateful for, because I need one right now. I'm worked to death. But it's, you know, anybody that is chasing the American dream versus trying to fit into the corporate cog understands that the long hours, the odd hours, you know, the Josh, you know, with your articles, I mean, sometimes, you know, I get an email from a client, from an agent that they, you know, they want something done, not right then, but I just do it right then. You know, you just push through whatever. And, you know, a lot of that goes back to the hustle of just, you know, doing any show that I could. Anybody that asked me to do a show, just, you know, I got on and or asked me to write something, you know. I go back to, you know, like I said a couple of weeks ago with thanking Justin LaBar for, you know, letting me ghostwrite for a little bit for him. You know, all of these things have led to a career. And so, like, in hindsight, man, it's, you know, we had a lot of fun with this. And, you know, 3 years ago, if you would have told me that was going to end up leading to, you know, a career path for myself, you know, I wouldn't have believed you. But this is also, guys, why you chase your dreams. Like, well, you know, you always, you can't be afraid to put the hustle and the work in, the long days, you know, and know that sometimes life is unfair and you're going to be underpaid or not paid. But if you ultimately want to achieve that goal and, you know, kind of, it's a beautiful thing, man. Like, you know, I get to do a lot that other people don't, because, you know, when you work for yourself, and right now it's a great time, you know, in this country, and this is why I love when people call me like all this liberal bullshit, whatever. I'm a big small business guy. And right now it's a great time to be a small business in America. And it's, you know, I'm very fortunate to work for the company that I do, and how we're branching off into like kind of our own division. And, you know, this might not have been possible 10 years ago, but because we have become so, you know, corporate America isn't dominating the workforce anymore. And people are realizing that people that know how to work realize that you can make a living in a good living, as long as you can hustle, you know, but you gotta hustle. And I think that's where, you know, it's not a generational thing. You know, I just think that, you know, people do blame generations, this, that, whatever. And I don't subscribe to any of that. I think it's just, you're either a worker or you're not. And some people, you know, I've always been a worker, and, you know, it took me 20 years to get to this point, and still, I still got ways to go. You know, 10 years is an overnight success, about 5 years into this stuff. So, you know, it's got a long way to go, but anybody that has followed the dream of, you know, the American dream, entrepreneurship, knows that when you can finally get that first person underneath you, that's a very, very big step. So it's crazy to think, Josh, 3 years ago, I was recovering from, you know, that, coming off that medication, that wicked medication. I was kind of working odd jobs. I was actually doing kind of what I'm doing right now, but just on a much smaller scale. And to know that 3 years later, now I'm running my own department and doing guest speaker work and just stuff like that. It's actually, it's kind of incredible. So that's why I always tell people, listen, don't let anybody get in your head, and never burn bridges, close doors. That's one thing, Josh, like in the past, you know, because I just got tired of kind of doing, I think, like wrestling podcasting for a while, because it was making me hate the product that I love so much. You know, just don't burn bridges. Like, take every opportunity you can. because you never know where it could land you. Like you never know who's listening and where it could really put you in life. So that's my, that when I look back and reflect on it, and the best way to kind of, I guess, express that to everyone that's listening, thank you, because if it wasn't for anybody that's been listening, we wouldn't be doing it. And, it's kind of put me on a path where, I'm setting myself up pretty nicely for my family here. So it's, times are good, man. And unfortunately that's why we have to tape on YouTube, and that's why sometimes our shows are shorter. So it sucks though on the flip side, but that's the beautiful thing, man. When you have flexibility with your work, you can pause for a minute, do stuff like this and go back. So, and then, on the time that like you and I have worked together, it's like I said, it was always different on this show versus other shows, because this was just more of an authentic show. This was more of just a conversation where this felt more of a podcast than a circus or a charade or because that's ultimately what, you when you listen to like Jericho's podcast, or you listen to the good pod, and I'm just pulling his out because I'm a Jericho mark, but when you listen to like, guys that really, I was going to say Maron. Thank you. Mark Maron. When you, Chris Hardwick used to have a really good one. I know that's controversial right now, but there's guys and girls that when you listen to their podcast, you get sucked in just to the conversation. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing. You want to feel like you're just kind of in the room. And I hope that's the feeling you guys have gotten out of this show. That we're not, playing these characters and hating this or loving that too much. This is kind of just us, talking wrestling and whatever else is going on that we feel like talking about.
Speaking of stuff that people like to talk about, John Oliver loves to talk about professional wrestling from time to time here and there.
I always knew he was a fan, and I know people are going to say that he's not, but go ahead.
John Oliver on his late night show on HBO over the weekend dedicated a big chunk of his show and its main topic about WWE and the conversation on independent contractors and how these performers are treated throughout the year as employees, independent contractors, whatever you want to phrase it. And any wrestling fan that's been watching this stuff for many years and even do any slight research on the business knows that it's never been morally correct. I mean, sometimes I feel bad where I have to explain to somebody that I've been in love with a product that's been immorally correct, and they treat people like shit for, 20, 30 years, like it's always something that's in the back of your head that, that stuff like this happens. And it's not just wrestling. It happens in every entertainment platform, movies, shady people. They had that whole Harvey Weinstein thing that happened a couple years ago. Television, every form of entertainment, music, especially they have shady people, R. Kelly, Jussie Smollett. We could keep going this to the cows go home, but I thought the discussion was interesting. I just want to get my opinion first because Adam's a big fan of John Oliver.
Yeah, that's why I want you to take the reins on this first because I want to see. I'd love to get your opinion on it.
I appreciate that. That he took the time, that 23 minutes on any type of show on just one particular topic for a product that's supposedly niche and doesn't have mainstream appeal. This dude has got a lot of buzz on this topic alone. So I want to give him a shout out for that because he's got people talking and he got what he wanted out of the whole segment. So shout out to him on that end. My take on it is I have a couple things that I wasn't annoyed. It's just that it's kind of weird where HBO has always been the place where you had that controversial interview that Vince had with Bob Costas back then about steroids. And anytime there's something about controversy about how the wrestlers have been treated, it always stems from HBO or Michael Landsberg, that weird-looking dude from Canada. From the TSN. It's always those two. So I'm not saying that I took anything with a grain of salt from John Oliver. I respect his work. This guy's been doing this for a while. He's very good at what he does, not just from a comedy standpoint, but he's hit on a lot of important life topics as far as politics is concerned, other situations, this and that. I don't have the opportunity to watch the show every single week, but John Oliver has made a name for himself for a reason, and he's one of the most talented people in the world. And I don't know how you feel about this, where you really can't put John Oliver in one box. You can't really say he's just that as a broadcaster,
No, I mean, typically if you watch a show every week, and I've been a John Oliver fan for a while. Again, it comes from the Jon Stewart tree. Of course, I'm gonna be a supporter of his anyway. But I mean, I do think that he has the best late night show, if you want to call it a socio-political style show, because it's obviously based around that. But what's the thing about it though is whenever he dedicates the magazine style show that he does, his main topic is usually something that it's not as political as people think, and that's where I think people that don't watch his show for whatever reason, because they assume and insinuate certain things about any comedian these days. This is how certain things start. Anyway, but when he and you're right, 23 minutes when he takes up a large segment like that, he only dedicates that to something he truly cares about. And here's what I got out of it from John Oliver. Not totally, because I want to get more of your opinion on it first. But yeah. I think that the reason why he covered it, and absolutely he knew when he was going to drop this story because it was the beginning of WrestleMania week. Absolutely. For two reasons. Absolutely, it's a ratings thing. But two, he knew that it would get the most eyes on it, and a lot of issues that he's covered. He's gotten laws changed in this country. He's raised awareness for a lot of different things. But he never talks about something in his main magazine pieces unless he feels like someone is being truly unfairly, like there's been injustice being done to them. Now, with that being said, whether, however he presented it or not, we could debate that to the end of the day, all day long. But I do feel as though he was speaking as a fan who cares about the athletes in that ring, not somebody that was trying to tear down the product. Like if you took out your anger, it's how dare somebody talk about wrestling. He kept reiterating over and over, and there were it kept escalating as it went on about how, listen, wrestling's good. Wrestling's just good. Then it was face it, wrestling is better than anything you like. It's just, he kept talking about, and he has made little wrestling references here and there over the years, ever since he started his show. And I kind of had a feeling maybe he was he had to, or at least one of his writers was. But I don't think this was necessarily, and granted, Vince is the easy scapegoat. Yes, because it's his company. Now I think something to keep in mind was, yeah, they brought in Punk in, he talked about Punk. And I think that's where a lot of the debate was going to really go sour, because I don't think John Oliver understood how controversial maybe CM Punk is with the wrestling fan base. I think if you take the CM Punk part out of that, you have a lot more people that are either open to what was being said or were going to listen, because here's one thing that I would like to just kind of throw out there. I think it would be impossible for any of us, including John Oliver, to truly know what today's WWE does and does not do. But he was presenting some facts from their website that can't be disputed. Now, I understand that you go in and listen. There's opinions are opinions are opinions. So we can just skip past all the opinions. But I do have a question. Say he was to talk about Daniel Bryan, right? And say he was to say, over the course of the years, they have gotten stricter about concussions. In fact, Daniel Bryan was not allowed to compete for 3 years because of this. Now, you have two things then, Josh. Number one, didn't people think that was all a work and WWE was just trying to hold him back anyway? Right? Wasn't that was the internet rumor, right? That was everyone's internet conspiracy that Daniel Bryan should be cleared, but WWE won't clear him, and it's because they're burying him and they don't want him in the ring and they don't want, So
they want Roman to be the guy, not Daniel Bryan.
So right. So instantly, if you're trying to present something, you can't use that story, because that's what wrestling fans right there are talking out of both sides of your mouth. You know what I mean? Because then you can't, that's, and that's where, and I think that I actually wish that if there was one person that could have spoke about it, and you guys know what's coming out of my mouth because I'm a supermark, is I actually wish he might have been able to contact Corey Graves, because Graves is a guy that right now is unable to compete because of WWE's standards, and he could have maybe put a little bit of a spin on what today's WWE was like versus. But I do also think that, you know, John Oliver was talking about it getting better, and he was talking about it, and I think different things that he was. So obviously he was going to make it obscure because he's always said if he can't tell a joke about it, he just doesn't want to talk about it. And I never knew any kind of press to be bad press for WWE or wrestling, by the way. But I think that if he could have talked to Graves, that could have been something that would have maybe helped it out a little bit. But a lot of the footage, especially that he was using for fans, I know it was Vince during his during the like real Mr. McMahon stage. It seemed like Oliver was definitely a fan of wrestling back then and was talking more about the wrestlers from the past versus the wrestlers today. It almost sounds like he wants to ensure that the wrestlers today and in the future were taken care of, not only so that people like us don't have to give Jake the Snake money. You know what I mean? Like that, I think, was the ultimate thing. So I don't think it was meant to break down ultimately anybody, but just like WWE, sometimes they like to hit you with a sledgehammer, not, tap you on the shoulder. That's what Oliver does, in his comedy. So I've watched the show enough to know that he did this story because he cares about the men and women in that ring. And wants to, and probably does love the sport and the entertainment of wrestling. And otherwise he wouldn't have given, like you said, he would not have given him 23 minutes. Right.
So there's just a couple things that I felt that was missing from the segment. I thought a lot of his talking points from a comedy standpoint, and we've always said it, fair criticism and fair comedy, insults, whatever you want to do is fair game. And I really didn't have anything much of an issue for what he said from that point of view. I don't know about the whole stuff with calling Roman a pedophile at that point, where just the time with him coming back from leukemia, I don't know what that has to do with anything. I don't know when he recorded that segment, though. That's another thing. I don't know if that show's live or not, but
they tape it during the week. But I don't think that. Listen, when you're a comedian, it doesn't. And I know people don't like this, but I mean, you still have to be able to take a joke. I'm sure, I don't know. I mean, we could probably, that's where I'll admit I'll always defend a comedian. Even comedians I hate, like Roseanne Barr. I will always defend the right. I'm sure maybe he could have said something else instead of pedophile, but I mean, listen.
It's not something that I was bothered by. It's just I just thought the timing was weird.
Well, you know what though? I don't think Oliver watches that close enough though to know that Roman just came back from leukemia. You know what I mean? I think he was just trying to prove the point that WWE does eventually listen to their fans. When the fans I think it was just, he was showing, because ultimately that there's no better clip to show if you want to say like the fans dislike somebody than that. Yeah. Let's face it, like that was a pretty impressive moment in wrestling history. Love him or hate him. And I'm a Roman fan, so I mean,
I thought some of the research stuff was kind of outdated. I referenced it earlier at the beginning of the segment where I was talking about like past interviews that HBO's done with Vince or ESPN were doing, and it's like anytime you watch those documentaries or even like the E60 thing they did on NXT, still same thing about deaths about the same guys and Chris Benoit and this and that. I'll say this though, the like you said, those little backdrops of Vince getting beat up or whatever. I was at the show where Rock shoved Vince's head up Rikishi's ass. So that was kind of cool getting a laugh out there. Remember that show.
You know what? I think though the one reason why it was important to keep bringing up wrestlers about the past and show those clips from the past, and I'll admit I was thinking that too. Like, well, he's shown a lot of outdated clips or people that aren't with the company anymore, or whatever. But when the wording on their website still, and in their contract says that they are not negligent even in death, that means that nothing has changed. I mean, things have gotten better.
Yeah,
but there's still some underlying issues that need addressed, and I think that's.
I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but this is the
business. Totally.
This is the business.
And that's the flip side of it. I agree.
this is something that we've known already as fans.
Agreed.
And even if you're an announcer, I mean, I get it. They're not taking bumps. They're not making the sacrifices that the other guys do, but they're out doing things. Sometimes they're involved in a segment here and there. Like anybody, a lighting grid person, television production, if you're an employee for the WWE, you know the consequences that come with this decision where you're losing time with your family, you're traveling around the world.
Absolutely.
You're losing. Absolutely. You're not going to be in the best health conditions, all the time. Just standard. It's a lifestyle that's not accustomed to people like you and I or anybody else around the world. You need to have a particular set of skills, and some people can fit that business and some people don't.
Right. No, and I agree with that. And listen, everybody knows the risk when they are entering it. I thought when they had that the thing with Roddy Piper in there was pretty poignant, though, saying, there's a great entrance plan, but there is no exit plan. And and that is, but I think that's a little different today, though, because I do think a lot of the athletes today not only have contingency plans set in place, they do a lot of self-branding, so, and they do work differently in the ring. And I think that's something that he could have, that obviously could have been addressed a little bit more, because it is a little bit different now than 20 years ago, as far as like what they're, they are a little safer in the ring. That's always constantly the complaint, right? There's no blood anymore. There's no this or that, so the one thing, so no, dude, I agree with that side of things too. Like, the risk, it is crazy to think, though, that they can't get insurance, but that's there's a lot of places where you can't get insurance and stuff like that, because that would be a very large amount of money for, and I know people don't like this side of it, but that'd be a large amount of money for WWE all of a sudden to, every year. And I don't know. And because I'm not in the locker room, I don't want to take one side over another. And I'm absolutely not going to take a comedian's side over, whatever it is, because there were some points that, I disagreed with, agreed with, whatever. The one thing I will say, though, that doesn't help Vince out, and I love Vince, and please, and this is not a knock on Vince, but like you said, like the one interview that was on HBO, and I know it always seems like it's on HBO. He really doesn't help his cause out, though, when he acts the way that he does in these, and whether or not he's going into character mode or whatever, that's still perception. Perception is reality, and when. And he couldn't do that now, obviously. I mean, that was back in 2002 when there were still, it was just different, or whenever it was.
I think most cases, perception is more reality when you're caught on camera.
Right.
There's been so many times where you could look at somebody and be like, oh, they're the coolest person on earth. They wouldn't do anything wrong. And then somebody out of nowhere shoots at a school or a church. For me personally, the whole perception reality, it has different ways where it can be misconstrued, because it's not like even these days in society, I find myself getting into predicaments where I see people that I wouldn't expect to do something stupid. They do something stupid. Like I'd never been, maybe it's just myself personally, I never had the full grass on somebody unless they were openly an asshole towards me, and I'd never really bought into perceptions. I don't know.
No,
for me personally, I don't think it's an exact science. I don't think every perception that you have of somebody is reality unless you have it on camera or they tell you out front of who they are.
No, and dude, I totally agree with that, and that's, I guess, where. When you're going, I know that if you were being interviewed by HBO, and were asked a question, you wouldn't respond with, "Well, why don't you tell me that answer?" And when it's about your company, and then you wouldn't make a goofy face and hit someone's script, the questions out of their head. Like, I know that you wouldn't go. That's where I guess that, because we got to remember, it's ultimately, as wrestling fans, we're always going to look Vince in a certain light, whether you love him, hate him, whatever. And I love Vince. So I'm not, again, this is no, but. And Vince knows this too. He's the ultimate showman. So he knew what he was doing because he was helping getting himself ratings back then too. But it didn't age well now. You know what I mean? When you look at it in hindsight, it does make him look very petulant. And when you bring all these other things into light, that's where I guess it makes John Oliver's conversation a little bit more debatable versus just seemingly like it's like he was trying to trash everybody, you know? Because ultimately, listen, it is what it is, but like Vince is still, especially at that time or whatever, he's still the man. He's still the man. It's just you, and that's when you have to know that you have to represent yourself a certain way when you're doing interviews. Like, listen, like I had to watch Michael Jackson talk about how don't you climb trees too? No, dude, I got a job, I got kids and shit, man. No, I mean I got a kid, but you know what I mean? Like, no, I don't climb trees. A grown ass man. You know, and I'm sorry. I know when I walk into interviews or with potential clients and I'm trying to build my own brand, I just don't go in and start knocking people's laptops off their lap going, oh, why don't you tell me how I do my job? Like I can't, it's not a luxury I have. Now, granted, Vince has a hell of a lot more power than I do. Yeah. But I just think it's a bad look. You know, but again, though, we all have things that don't age well, you know? Right. So again, it's not something that it's just, you're right, Josh. It's just, it sucks that there's so much that that they could go back and cherry pick and kind of throw in there. But at the same time, Vince kind of put himself in that position years ago anyway. You know, it's the yin and yang of entertainment, I guess, you know?
Yeah. The last thing I want to mention for John Oliver for this segment is that as far as things I thought there were missed opportunities was, like we mentioned earlier, the stuff with Daniel Bryan. Not only for a WWE point of view, but for an athlete point of view with all these different issues with concussions with the NFL, all these different sports, hockey. A guy and the company had a understanding, and while Brian had his own frustrations about the process and everything, they found a way and he fought it. And a lot of credit goes to Daniel Bryan for, like you said, fight for his dreams and this and that. But the lookout for the town's best interest, I think that's a big accomplishment for athletes, for him to be able to return from the retirement that he did have a couple years ago. Also, Edge and the neck issues that caused Edge and Paige.
Yeah,
Edge and Paige retire. I thought that was something that was a missed opportunity. So that's just stuff that came to my mind. You know, I don't know why there were so many 2010 references, but there was factual information on it. But
you know what? The other thing with Daniel Bryan, why it might have been better that he didn't talk about him, is because the main crux of it was getting these athletes set up on just something so that they have health. It's just some sort of care afterwards, you know. And you're right. I mean, the Daniel Bryan thing is a great example of how they have become so much more strict on neck injuries, on concussions, on things of that nature. But then the counter argument does become those 3 years that he had to basically go to doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor and battle all this stuff and finally get cleared by WWE. He was paying for all of that out of his own pocket.
How much would they have been affected if he kept wrestling and something worse happened after?
No, I totally understand that.
No, but the reason I'm bringing up with this is because every time during the summer, we always get reminded about Chris Benoit, right? Like, it's been 10 years since that whole thing happened. I don't know what would happen. I'm not saying or trying to make an assumption that Daniel Bryan would go down that road. Concussions are something that I never suffered through, so I don't know how it affects somebody internally throughout multiple years. I don't know how that goes. I don't know where it's going to go with that situation. So, I mean, as a public company, and something worse would happen from a deeper concussion for Daniel Bryan while he was still wrestling, how much trouble would they been business wise? I don't know.
Yeah, no, and that's the kind of argument, and that's where it keeps going back and forth. And I ultimately, like I said, I think that a lot of it was, and maybe it could have been sharper, but he was really just looking to get like healthcare or some sort of care, you know, so that these athletes could take, you know, better care of themselves, so that maybe they could, you know, I don't know. It was, I'll admit there were a couple cheap shot ways to address the situation. You know, Lance Hoyt was an unfortunate thing to bring in because, but you know, that was an era, and thankfully that era is done now. You know, for what we know, because isn't the knock on the current generation that they're like nerds in the locker room, that like, you know what I mean? That's the funniest, I guess the funnier part about it is like, oh, they're nerds that play video games, and you know, ooh, sorry, we're not all out getting drunk and you know what I mean? But Man, I don't know. It's for me. I do. I knew there was going to be fallout from this. I knew, and you know what? It's one of those where here's why I actually think that however you feel about John Oliver or the segment, here's why it was effective. Because you right now either love it or you hate it. There's nobody that, and if nothing else, you're talking about it, right? And that ultimately is all he ever cares about, because he doesn't care if you like him, hate him, whatever. If you're talking about what he was talking about, then he wins. And, it might not make change and it might not, but you're right. Absolutely. WWE is much different than it was 10 years ago, from an athlete perspective and from how they take care of their athletes. That still doesn't mean that and that's anywhere, but that doesn't mean that there can't be, work that can be done though. So, right. I don't know. I think it's much different because when you look at an AEW, they are an independent contractor. Absolutely. I do think that the independent contractor stuff with WWE is a little thin, but again, you know what you signed up for, that's the thing, and you should look at it as an honor to be working for that company,
Going back to what we were talking about earlier about time lengths and shows and how many matches are overkill on a show. Ring of Honor New Japan this Saturday having the G1 Supercard at Madison Square Garden. I'm looking at the match card right now. There's 12 matches in total, but there's only 2 on the pre-show. First one has the Honor Rumble. Whoever wins that Rumble will get a chance to fight any champion from either Ring of Honor or New Japan. So that's a nice little feature there. We're not gonna make a prediction for every match of the show. I'll let you guys know what's on the card this Saturday, but me and Adam will pick out the main matches to pick from. All right, guys. All right, here we go. Will Ospreay against Jeff Cobb, both never openweight world TV titles on the line. That's going to kick off the show, so I'm very excited for that. That's going to be the first match on the show. Rush from AAA fighting Dalton Castle. We have a Women of Honor Championship match. Bully Ray's fighting Juice Robinson in the New York City Street Fight. Taiji Ishimori, Dragon Lee, and Bandito. 3-way match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. GOD, Villain Enterprises, LIJ, and the Briscoes. 4-way match for both New Japan and Ring of Honor tag team titles. I wish this match was an elimination match. That would have been a good way to not have much calamity in that match, but that should be a lot of fun. Zack Sabre Jr. Defending his Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship against Tanahashi. Naito and Ibushi for the IWGP IC title. Jay Lethal, Marty Scurll, and Matt Taven ladder match for the Ring of Honor World Championship. That's the semi-main event of the show. And the final one, Jay White and Kazuchika Okada IWGP Heavyweight Championship match. We're going to go with the 4 major title matches to predict from for this Saturday show.
I'm very main eventing.
Yes, Switchblade is okay. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty dope. Actually, they had a press conference today saying that AAA is gonna have their own pay-per-view at a Madison Square Garden later on this year. I forgot the date of it, but I saw that earlier this morning, so I thought that was pretty cool.
See, I thought Marty was gonna be headlining, but that's all right. Second building's still good on that.
Yes. Let's say he's the Ring of Honor main event of the show.
Yeah, that's that's a good point.
He's a draw, man. People are paying a lot of money to go to the show to see him in the title match. So that's pretty cool.
There's a big reason why we're probably ordering that pay-per-view Saturday night, and it's that he's the one.
I'm very excited for this show. There's gonna be a lot of barn burners. I don't know whether people get enjoyed by this as they were for All In. This is more serious type of wrestling than even there was with Joey Ryan and Hangman Page and Dick Roy, Dick Druids, and all the shenanigans.
I love the Dongo Druids. I love them.
Mm-hmm.
This was such an amazingly brilliant spot.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, so Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship match, Tanahashi against Zack Sabre Jr. I've seen these guys wrestle a lot in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Kind of like you can pick out any repeated match you see from Raw and SmackDown. That's how many times Zack Sabre Jr. has fought Tanahashi in the match. So I know what the sequences are going to look like. I know what type of match they're going to have. It's going to be interesting. Zack Sabre Jr. Having a title match in Madison Square Garden against, not against, but in front of USA crowds. You know, it's different. Japan crowds are very excited. They appreciate the technical side of the wrestling when they have law and submission sequences in that. So I'm very curious to see how the USA crowd and the bubble crowd will react towards that match, because those two, their matches go slow, then it speeds us towards the end, so it's a different style match. But I'll go with Zack Sabre Jr. here.
Yeah, you know, I'll just go with Zack Sabre Jr. too, just because. I you know, I haven't seen either product. It's yeah, there you go. It's just a pick. It's like playing the lottery.
Man, it's weird, man. Some people like Zack Sabre Jr., some people don't.
I love him.
I don't like the stuff he has with Taka Michinoku, but that's just my point of view. But yeah, I enjoy a lot of Zack Sabre Jr. matches. He's really good.
I enjoy the fact that he plays such an arrogant character, and it still somehow works. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times it just really doesn't work, or people get tired of it, or whatever. It's just
MJF. No, I'm kidding.
I love MJF. Sure, I just think MJF's misunderstood. He's such a salt of the earth kind of guy, guys. You guys are all he's so misunderstood. No, but with Zack Sabre Jr., man, I do think that, you know, some guys just they can get away with that, knowing that, like, this dude's probably one of the nicest dudes in the world. You know what I mean? But he just knows how to really work that. And when you're able to sustain that, why leave it? You know, why escape from it? You found your niche. You know, like Danny Trejo doesn't try and be a lead role in a romantic comedy. You know, he knows his role. He stays in his lane, and he gets role after role after role after role. So
I want you and AJ to look this up later on. Zack Sabre Jr. has the longest name for a finisher move I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't know what it means. It's just fucking long.
I have to look it up.
Type it in Wikipedia or something. I don't know.
Wikipedia, the home of all the great truths in life.
And every other dirt sheet website out there.
Yeah, you
know. Anyways, next one. Ibushi Naito IC title. This match should be a lot of fun. I think these two fought at a Wrestle Kingdom before. But I'm excited for this one. Naito is the IC champion, by the way. I'm going with Kota Ibushi, actually.
I'm just gonna go with Naito because I just still always like screaming Naito like Jericho used to when they were having their little program. So I'm gonna go with Naito on the principle, just on a 1 degree of separation effect.
That's gonna be a 20-minute match probably. Good God. All right, Jay Lethal, Matt Taven, the villain, Marty Scurll ladder match, Ring of Honor World Championship. I am going with the villain here. The fact that Jay Lethal is walking into Madison Square Garden as a Ring of Honor World Champion, he already won.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He won at the end of the day. He's from that New York, New Jersey area. To say that he was part of a main event at Madison Square Garden as a champion, I think for him personally and professionally, he wouldn't care whether he wins or loses this Saturday. I am going with the villain, though. I think Ring of Honor needs a new face to add some more viewers to their show, and I think it's Marty's time.
I think you hit the nail on the head with Jay Lethal because, you know, he kind of has been the flag bearer for Ring of Honor. Like we talked about it last week. He's been there steady. He's been there. He's kind of been there. You know, you don't like the comparisons, but I'm not saying you, but people at home, and you know, he's kind of been their Cena or their Reigns. I mean, he's been there. They know that they could always go back to him, and it's successful. He's gonna make it. He's gonna make a championship reign work. So, you know, I think that you're absolutely right. Him just walking in as champion and is deservedly so. He already won. As a fan, of course, I'm going to sit here and say, I hope Marty, you know, brings the title home. Home, like it's like, you know what I mean? I hope he wins the championship, but, like he's a sports team or something. I'm like, but Villain Enterprises, I guess we are like a sports team, but, you know what, man, I wouldn't be surprised if Jay Lethal actually retained. and they could extend a feud with just Marty and Jay, maybe, you know, post this. But I am in agreement. I do think that Marty, you know, for all the reasons I gave last week, you know, just his ability to move merch, his ability to sell, to get people interested, to, you know, like I said, we're probably buying the pay-per-view this Saturday night, and by probably, I mean we are, with the hope that he, you know, because I want to see Marty win the championship. I'm not gonna lie, you know. So that's kind of where we're at with that. And you know, and again, it's nice, you know, kind of look at this WrestleMania weekend. We're investing in like smaller businesses. We're investing in like larger corporations. It's, you know, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. We're also helping out OTT. What were you called? The WWE Network? What type of
streaming service?
Yeah, we're helping small, not small business, but online terrestrial devices out there. We're helping them out too.
Yeah, but they're definitely the corporate beast.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Again, not that it's a bad thing. We need both to succeed. It's just that when small business is good, I like this, you know, because there's times in this country.
I will have to ask though. I don't know what are people thinking if they actually buy the WrestleMania pay-per-view.
Why do people still do that? That I don't understand how people still like. I know some people. I don't know. I'll never understand that. Why are you spending $60 on something you can get a free 1 month trial for?
Right.
That's wasting money. Like,
come on. They give you extra opportunity to have more months.
Oh, people need some Jesus if you're doing that kind of stuff.
Oh man. Before we get to the main event, I do hope that either Suzuki or Ishii appear in the show. With watching New Japan, those are my guys that I love watching the most besides Jay White. I hope they find a way to be part of the show, whether it's on a Rumble before the show or something with Bully Ray. I don't know. I would hope I see Suzuki or Ishii. Me personally, those are my two guys that I like watching the most in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I know they're going to be in New York. They're having a Rev Pro versus New Japan thing tomorrow at the Midtown Ballroom in New York. So that's pretty cool. And we'll see what happens. All right, main event. Because we got to get to TakeOver too, man. There's a lot going on this week. Guys, I was talking to Ant, by the way. Shout out to him. He's having his gala tonight, a very big event for Ramathan and his crew tonight. So shout out to him. I was talking to him earlier, and I was saying, like, you know, by this time next week, I don't know if I have these. I don't know if I'll have my fingers with me. I don't know. There's gonna be so much fucking typing that's going on this weekend. I don't know if I'll make it or not. I have no idea.
Yeah, you got a long weekend ahead of you, man.
Such a long Sunday. All right, Jay White, Okada rematch, Wrestle Kingdom 13. Switchblade against Okada. Man, this could go many ways. This match for me is the biggest coin flip out of any matches on this show on Saturday. I'm gonna go with Jay White though for a couple more months just to get him more established as a mainstream star. I know New Japan's doing a show at American Airlines Center in Dallas when the G1 tournament starts later on this year, so I think that's pretty cool. But I think some way, somehow, Jay White retains that the Bullet Club will help Jay White beat Okada.
And I'm trying to think. White won that title back in what? Was it like November or something? Or did he win it at?
He won it at...
Was it late last fall? Because it wasn't at Wrestle Kingdom, right? He went in as champ at Wrestle Kingdom.
No.
Or am I wrong about that?
No, Tanahashi beat Omega for the title, and I think Jay White won it at one of the other following pay-per-views the next month.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Okay. I see what's going on there. Okay.
Yeah. Kenny Omega's last New Japan match. Yes, sir.
Yeah, dude, that's what I mean. Even like days and months just run together. That's why I don't know. New Year was like nothing. It's like, yeah, whatever. It's just another day. You know, I'm with you. I could see this going in a ton of different directions. I mean, I could absolutely see, New Japan wanting Okada to walk out as champion in the first. I don't want to say first, but it's a big event at Madison Square Garden. Same time, again, that consistency of somebody being able to kind of continue Bullet Club, There's that seamless transition from when the Elite was there to Jay White, and I like that. I like that it didn't feel like there was a drop off. I didn't feel like people aren't supporting Bullet Club like they were before. My daughter rocks her little Bullet Club hoodie every day. It's awesome. So from a fan standpoint, I want to see Jay White, walk out as champion. From a business side, I think either way you win. In a way, right. I really do. So I think that it's really whatever story they want to tell. As a fan, I'm always pulling for Switchblade though. So
G1 Supercard coming up this Saturday. It's gonna be live on New Japan World, also on Fight TV. So make sure to go check out the pay-per-view if you are not gonna watch the Hall of Fame this Saturday. I'm very excited. If you guys want to catch up with what I'm doing writing on the writing tip, make sure to check out ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. It'll all start tomorrow night with NXT TakeOver, which we're talking about next. Obviously, we have the G1 show on Saturday, and then WrestleMania, of course, on Sunday. So make sure to check out those bad boys. And then here we go. Let's get into TakeOver because we actually do have a superstar in the waiting rooms ready to get her voice on the show. Excited for that. We get to WrestleMania in a couple minutes, but let's hit on TakeOver. All right.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Yes, sir. NXT TakeOver at the Barclays. TakeOver Brooklyn. I don't know, 5, 6. There's so many fucking takeovers at Brooklyn. But anyways, here we go. We have War Raiders against Aleister Black and Ricochet for the NXT Tag Team titles. Ricochet and Aleister Black have 2 Tag Team title matches this weekend on major shows. I said it multiple times. I'm glad that NXT is doing this on Friday as opposed to Saturday. So
yeah, I agree with that too.
I'm excited for this show coming up tomorrow night. I'll finish my day shift at the tattoo shop tomorrow. Relax. I don't know, maybe catch an hour of sleep or something because I haven't slept at all this week so far. And then we'll get ready for TakeOver. TakeOver is going to start at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the WWE Network this tomorrow night. And it'll be 6 o'clock my time here in the Central. If you live out in the West, figure it out for yourself. that's for my boy Sean, who lives out in Washington, Idaho area. Anyways, War Raiders, Aleister Black and Ricochet. I'm very excited for this match. This one will start off the show. Always tag team title matches on takeovers are always a lot of fun. There's always long matches, but I'm excited for this one. I'm gonna go with War Raiders here.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think it's. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to look too deep into the looking glass or anything like that, but you know what I mean. But it just seems like Aleister Black and Ricochet are on the main roster to stay. They're probably going to have some voids. I don't know when people's contracts run out. I'm not on the internet, but it does seem like they're grooming some people just in case there's some people that are going to leave the company. You know what I mean? And again, it could be a whole ruse and it could be a work and it could be whatever. You know,
I have an update on that.
Oh, hey, updates.
Yes. The Usos signed a new contract the other day, so they're going to be sticking around. So,
oh, cool. Good. Good. I love the Usos, man.
Yes.
But, yeah. So,
by the way, I know we're not going to be able to talk about Raw or SmackDown this week, but when they're doing the whole thing with Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte, and they're putting them in the cop cars, is like Ronda, the entire show is like, oh, Judgment Day will come soon. And I was like, Judgment Day equals a trip to the Uso penitentiary.
Yeah, right.
They're all of them go to the penitentiary.
Right. Also, Graves made a great, slipped in a great Mean Girls reference again this week too, but that's neither here nor there.
He always does.
It's neither here nor there. But yeah, so, but I guess this is a long way of saying, I guess, War Raiders, just because I don't know. It does seem like that Ricochet and Black are going to be up on the main roster now. So, I'm sorry, Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, there's not really much to look into this match in general. I mean, there wasn't much of a storyline to it. It's Aleister Black and Ricochet won this year's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament to get this title opportunity. There's never been this long beef between the War Raiders. It's just going to be a fun match with a lot of spots. It's just going to be a car crash. So I'm excited for this match. Pete Dunne against Walter. This is the match I'm looking forward to the most. Tomorrow, Pete Dunne defending his WWE United Kingdom Championship against Walter. Walter is the man. Again, to have more appreciation for him while watching and transcribing his matches now at NXT UK. I've never seen a one-on-one Pete Dunne Walter match at other UK promotions yet, but I'm excited for this one. You know, the last time they had a UK title match on a TakeOver was the one that Pete Dunne had with Tyler Bate here in Chicago. So I'm excited for this one. This match will be sick.
No, listen, I'm looking forward to this too. And I think this is oddly, my daughter's really looking forward to this Walter match too. But to see so we can really know what Walter.
He has one of the best musics. He has one of the best entrance songs out of everybody right now.
Yeah, it's perfect. Oh man, like I listen, I love Pete Dunne. I really do. I love Pete Dunne, and the fan side of me wants to see Pete Dunne retain. You know, I don't know though. I mean, maybe it is time to switch titles. I mean, he has held the title now for how many, like 700 some days, something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I'd like to see some. You know, not saying that isn't a big deal, but I would like to see Pete Dunne a lot more than just in NXT UK. So, you know, if they have to take the title off him for that, you know, so be it. And I think Walter is a guy that, especially the crowd that they're focusing on, not necessarily the North American crowd, but the UK crowd, they're familiar with Walter. Like the European crowd's familiar with Walter. They understand his work. He's wrestled with you know, a bunch of promotions over there, including Progress. So, you know, I think that, you know, sometimes the timing is just right. And maybe this is just the timing is right kind of scenario. So I'm actually going to go with Walter on this one.
And this would be a different type of match. Walter doesn't move around like Braun Strowman. Like this dude does stuff that I can't believe he does for his size. And some of those striking exchanges that they're going to do is going to be nasty.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun match to watch.
Yeah. A lot of hamburger meat. the old phrase, turn your chest into hamburger meat.
Yeah, that was always such a weird phrase to me.
I know. Velveteen.
When you cook it, then it gets dark. So, like, I don't eat raw hamburger meat, so I don't want it to look like that.
Velveteen Dream defending his NXT North American Championship against Matt Riddle. I think Velveteen Dream is going up to Raw or SmackDown soon, so I'm going to go with Matt Riddle here. Matt Riddle's got a lot of buzz. I enjoy his work for what he does in the ring. As far as his character or whatever, it can be hit and miss here sometimes. I'm not always big on the bro type of characters in any entertainment, not just wrestling anything, but just entertainment in general. I was not a Jersey Shore fan, but I see a couple of interviews that Matt Riddle has done, and he's a cool dude, and he's done a really good job so far in his role here in NXT. So I'm gonna go with Matt Riddle in this match. Yeah,
I mean, I think Dream would be somebody that they'd be bringing up, you know, pretty soon if there's some things that are going on. And I'm with listen, man, I'm with you. I'm not really like the bro type of person. I'm not like, you know, I don't typically sign up for that kind of character and or human in real life. But no, listen, Riddle was a really good dude though, and that's where, like, you know, character versus person and, you know, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. For me, because I don't watch NXT on a weekly basis, I just need to become more familiar with Matt Riddle's character in NXT. To be honest, to be quite fair, you know, it's just to, you know, but I wouldn't be opposed to him taking the title. You know what I mean? So that's, you know, I'd like to see what they could do with him, because, you know, he could be he could be a guy that people really gravitate towards, you know, love him, hate him, whatever. He could be one of those guys that people really, really, really do, you know, gravitate towards. So strike while the iron's hot. People seem to be, you know, gravitating towards him. Like you said, like, you know, I think the Chronicle that they did on, or what is it? It's whatever documentary.
Yeah, Chronicle. Yep.
It's a Chronicle. Okay. You know, that obviously helps out too, gets, you know, recognition, stuff like that. So, I'm all for it. You know, if it helps, listen, it's going to help Dream out. It would help Riddle out. It would help both of them out. And ultimately that's what you want, right? Everybody wins.
Yeah. They're actually having a Chronicle special coming out tomorrow night after XC about Charlotte. So I saw that yesterday. I think that's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to watch that after TakeOver's over tomorrow night. I'm gonna be up front right now, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sneak in Impact this week. There's just so much going on right now. A TakeOver pay-per-view. I don't know when it's gonna end. Impact shows air their shows at 10 p.m. Eastern time on Twitch, and it takes a while to get those shows uploaded online for a site that I use to catch up with these shows. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do Impact this week. This being upfront with you guys. Even myself don't have that much hours in time to do all this shit, but if I could sneak it in, I'll do it for you guys. I'll let you guys know on my Twitter page whether I'll do Impact this week or not.
Didn't Allie Impact end up getting like fired, so AEW picked her up anyway, or whatever? Is that a thing?
I don't know. We got to ask Tony Khan artists. We need to know.
I thought I saw something that she's with AEW now.
Who, Allie?
Yeah.
Yeah, they wrote her off TV last week on Impact. Yes, Allie's going to be part of AEW now. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, then there's really no reason to watch Impact. No, I'm totally kidding. So everyone, I know there's still some great men and women there. I don't want anyone, it's a joke.
Yeah.
Anyone get offended. After this week with John Oliver, that's not, I've always kind of molded myself after like a Stewart and like that kind of thing. That's all I need is people telling me now I hate the business because make one bad joke. Actually, one good joke. You guys will just take it bad.
There's something that Brother Carter said that I agree with. Even if you don't have a chance to watch NXT a lot, the video packages for these type of matches get you caught up. I know you're saying that you haven't had a chance to watch Matt Riddle's character, but always before the matches start, they have good video packages, and you'll get caught up in what they've been doing recently. So I'm sure they'll have some good ones tomorrow for everybody.
That's actually one thing that we were talking about here is that, it really is, NXT does a great job that I think they understand that, the hardcore wrestling fans still going to, try to watch the programming, but listen, they got our subscription. They don't really care if we watch or not. As long as we watch, I think that, takeovers and stuff like that. And the quality of matches in takeovers is so good. And they catch you up with the story, and I'm a big story is important guy. I just listened to a thing where Jericho was, I think, doing an interview Between the Ropes, and I kind of agree with something that he said where the story sometimes, can be more important than the match, because it's hard for a match to live up to a really, really fantastic story, and I agree with that a lot of times. And NXT does a great job in getting you excited for a match or for these entertainers and athletes that maybe you're not as familiar with, So yeah, the director of operations is dead on with that. You're dead on with that. I think they've always done a really good job with that though, over the years.
Ladies match. This is a semi-main event for TakeOver New York. Fatal 4-way match. Shayna Baszler versus Io Shirai against Bianca Belair against Kairi Sane. This is for the NXT Women's Championship. Shayna Baszler has been Brock Lesnar for the NXT Women's Division since she came to the WWE. I love Shayna Baszler. Some people like her, some think she's boring and one-dimensional, but I enjoy her work. I'm a big Shayna Baszler fan, and I got her retaining in this match as well.
You know what? That's an easy. That's probably the most logical answer, and that's probably what's going to happen. I'm going to go with Io Shirai.
Okay.
Because it is a fatal 4-way. This is an opportunity to get the title off of Baszler without, people always say this, without hurting her, it's, whatever.
Buried.
Without burying her.
So,
but
I mean, I know Triple H is booking the show, but where's the show?
Yeah, right. That's that ultimate joke. But no, but I think it's a way that, they can switch champions and listen, it could go to, I actually think it could go to any of the 4 women in this match. I think there's something with Io Shirai that they could do some good things with her. So, and Bianca, I mean, listen, all 3 of them, Bianca Belair as well. Kairi Sane has already kind of had her title runs. So I that's why I'm not including her. I think it's important to get some fresh blood, with the title around their waist. So, I'm pulling for Bianca Belair or Io Shirai, but my prediction is going to be Io Shirai.
I think Kairi Sane is going to be one of those who will go up to Raw or SmackDown or be part of that battle royal that they're doing on Sunday. So
I can see that, yeah.
So finally, we got the main event. So we have 5 matches on TakeOver, as always. This one will be 2 out of 3 falls. Johnny Gargano against Adam Cole. Better. for the NXT Championship. This will be the main event of the show. They put a nice video out about Tommaso Ciampa's surgery and his process going through that. It's on the YouTube channel. You guys can go look out for that. It was really, really good. This was supposed to be Tommaso Ciampa against Johnny Gargano, but I don't think anybody will whine about Adam Cole being a replacement. These guys are going to tear the house down. I'm very excited for this match, and it's going to be a very, very, very good match. But for me personally, I think Adam Cole is going to become the NXT champion tomorrow night.
Yeah, and first, it's heartbreaking. You know, I know we're not, but it's heartbreaking seeing like Ciampa, like in the hospital. Like I think it was, it's unfortunate, man. Like you never want to see anybody get hurt. That's one thing. You just never want to see anybody get hurt, especially for when it's a lengthy period of time and when it could be, that serious too. That being said, the show must go on, and I am a huge Adam Cole fan. So I would be remiss if I didn't sit here and fanboy out over this a little bit. Yeah, I want Adam Cole to win. I'm hoping Adam Cole wins, and that's going to be my prediction. So that's all. That's really all I need to say. Boom, bang, done. Adam Cole, baby.
I gotta say, I forgot the name of it, but it's on the radio. They play it a lot. The theme song that they have for TakeOver this year is pretty dope. I like it.
That Billie Eilish song?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that song so much.
I like the beat of it. I didn't listen to it fully.
There's an acoustic version that's pretty cool. I don't like Billie Eilish at all. Ugh.
All right. Before we get to WrestleMania, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Randy Orton and AJ Styles segment on the Kevin Owens show this week. Man, these two just don't care, man. They just shooting everything, shooting and hooting.
That escalated quickly, didn't it?
Yeah.
Owens just got out of there. You know what, man? I don't want to sound like the typical internet mark, that is going to, I'm sure there was somewhat of a work shoot involved. Listen, they still both cut pretty deep. They were kind of going back and forth at it, but listen, we love that though, right? Isn't that why we watch?
Yeah.
That's, so I thought it was brilliant. Like I thought it was, and I don't think it's anything that it's all public knowledge, so it's not like it's just the first time that they've addressed it. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with addressing your faults, so for Orton, to sit there and take that line, and know that they're using that line or whatever, I think that shows that Orton has a lot more character than what people give him credit for.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day. So, I mean, I loved it. I thought it was great. When you can, again, when you can blur that line, it makes everything better. So
I thought that 18-person mixed tag team match was pretty funny too. I don't know what you thought about that.
Yeah, I dug that. I know that's what my daughter liked too, because finally the women and men were mixing it up a little bit too. So it was cool. It was definitely cool. And speaking of, I'm going to mute the mic. I'm going to go get the start. We got a quick question for her, and then we'll do our WrestleMania predictions.
Yes, sir. We're about to bring in podcast's biggest superstar in a couple of seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir.
All right, so here we go. Now listen. Now here we go. We gotta welcome her in for her little weekly segment, and we're gonna keep her extra now to do the WrestleMania predictions. But AJ, welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
I am very proud to be here right now.
You're very proud to be here. I don't know if proud is the right word that you're looking for there, but we'll take it. We'll take it. So listen, so this is the question I have for you this week, because since we're going to get to talk about WrestleMania anyway, I was going to ask you this last week, but you were feeling under the weather.
Yes.
Now, right now, I think it would be hard, regardless of whether you love WWE, hate WWE, and this is more for the people listening at home. And especially with the John Oliver stuff this week, whether you want to love it, hate it, whatever, I think the one thing that we can all agree on is that right now, women's wrestling in WWE is absolutely the best on the planet. You know what I mean? And yeah, and listen, I know there's still other promotions like Stardom, and there's still other promotions like Shimmer, and there's other, and I understand that. But right now, there's been more excitement, I believe, in the women's division in WWE than there has been in the men's division this past calendar year. So, with all of that being said, my question to you, AJ, because I know you're starting to get excited about AEW a lot. I know you're really interested in Michael Nakazawa, but that's for a different Michael Nakazawa. But so here's what I'm asking you, because again, this is why we bring you in, because us old heads and us wrestling marks, as they call us, we're all stuck in our ways and we don't have any What do you want to see out of AEW's women's division? Like, that's something that not a lot of people have been talking about. I think they have 6 women signed now. It seems like Brandy might be getting involved, with it a little bit too. What do you want to see that maybe WWE doesn't do? Because do you think WWE, really does it right now? Do you think there's things that could be different that AEW could do, or what do you want to see out of their women's division?
Well, what I do want to see is some and I know WWE already did this in the men's Royal Rumble this year, but I do want to see women taking hits from the men and men taking hits with the women, obviously.
So you want some intergender matches potentially? Okay.
Not mixed match challenges. That's just that doesn't really make any sense in a way if you're trying to have an intergender match.
Right. Well, that kind of is an intergender match. They just didn't want to call it an intergender match.
Yeah, and then they just went ahead and had just man versus man.
I guess you got a point. Yeah, I guess you got a point on that one. Yeah.
And
point child.
But I also don't really know what else I'd like out of AEW. I want them to be good, obviously, with their women's division and to choose good storylines and stuff like that. I think that's what I'm expecting out of them and what I want out of them.
Okay, so right now, do you have any complaints with how WWE's women's division is?
No.
Okay, okay, good. So now, because that's always the age-old question of this company can do something better than this company, and really, it's because some adults want it to be edgier and they can use bad language and they want blood and all kinds of that stuff. All the candy floss that is
nonsense.
Kind of it's kind of unnecessary. So. You like the format how WWE has been representing women. You think they're doing a good job so far?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I guess that made that a little bit simpler, I guess, than what I thought it would be. So now we can get to WrestleMania.
WrestleMania, brother. All right, really quick. I always do this for every WrestleMania preview show I do. Favorite WrestleMania moment as a fan? Adam and AJ, you could go first.
Go ahead, AJ.
Okay, my favorite WrestleMania moment. I don't know. And I don't even really remember this moment that much, but my favorite probably is The Rock and Ronda years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
31.
And I barely even remember that, but that really is my favorite.
That was the first WrestleMania you really sat and watched.
Yes.
Because that's the one that you figured out what the Money in the Bank briefcase finally meant when Seth cashed in at the end. Yeah, that's when things started clicking with you.
I also have that magazine right across from me right now.
Yeah, you do. Okay, so you like the Ronda and The Rock versus, how they had it set up versus Stephanie and Triple H. Okay,
yes.
I dig that.
I like that.
Man, this one, I feel like Brody, Bruce, and Mallrats right now. How do you choose? You know what, man? I think is like a fan, being there or being or just watching at home. I don't know.
In general, brother, you can. You know what, man? 2 or 3. It doesn't have to be one.
It's hard for me to listen. CM Punk Jericho was awesome, but there was also something really special about that Jericho Shawn Michaels match at WrestleMania 19. Nice. But see, I could do this with WrestleMania 22 was real special though too, just because of the crowd. Last small venue Mania. This is actually the beauty of WrestleMania is that you could really pull so many different memories out and why it was your favorite. What was your favorite? I could say Seth Rollins cashing in was one of my favorite moments. Hardy Boys returning a couple years ago, a great moment in time. But Jericho Michaels it was my first Mania. It was the dream match that you could have written for me at that time in my life. It was. The story was great. The match was great. The venue is great. It's just, there for me as a fan, and that to me was the best, moment, I guess, for me.
I have a couple. For ones that I got to attend in person, absolutely Seth Rollins is up there high on the list for me personally. Edge and Mick Foley, WrestleMania 22. It's probably the best hardcore match I've ever seen in person. That one really stands out to me. Other moments, I think my favorite one, and the match was not classic or anything, but for me personally, my favorite WrestleMania moment was the streak coming to an end.
Okay. It was amazing being there to watch people react to it.
Undertaker has always been my favorite wrestler growing up. Before CM Punk came around, it was always my main two guys was the Undertaker and CM Punk, and I wasn't expecting that moment to be the case where he was gonna have the streak come to an end. I thought that really stood out to me. And another one that doesn't get a lot of talk, but when Eddie and Chris were hugging each other to close out WrestleMania 20, that's another one that stands out.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was a good one. I mean, I don't know, and that's the thing. Like when you're a wrestling fan, you can pull out so many. You know, being there for Brock Kurt was, it's same WrestleMania at 19 was pretty special. Seen a lot of people's last matches. Again, same WrestleMania, Austin's last match, Edge's last match, which to me as a fan meant a lot. It's
Taker for me,
right? Yeah, I mean, there's you could go through, and even if it doesn't pan out as being one of the best WrestleManias, typically there's always a moment or two you could pull out of that you'll hang on to forever. Like I always knock WrestleMania 9, but something I'll never forget about it is one, Bobby, just how Bobby Heenan just was acting on the way out to the ring on top of the whatever they were riding on the way out there, just that kind of stuff. I mean, that's about it from WrestleMania 9, but
that was not good.
I remember being very angry that they did Bret dirty like that just to have Hogan. I didn't like Hogan as a kid. I was little Mark's little kid, but yeah, man, I do. I think I really feel like that you could always pull something out of every Mania. Some don't age as well as others. We all know that, but it is hard to pick a favorite though, especially watching what we're 35. I've watched 35 of these now. 30. It's hard to pick that singular favorite moment out.
Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this bad boy, shall we? We're gonna wrap this show off with a bang. WrestleMania predictions. 15 matches on the show, so we're not gonna break down the feuds and this and that. I have a couple scenarios I might bring up here and there when it comes to the bigger matches, but we're gonna go through this quick as we can while we have AJ here with us. So WrestleMania 35 predictions. Let's do this. All right. We're gonna start off with the kickoff matches. We'll start off with the dudes. The 6th annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I'm gonna go with this. I got Bray Wyatt coming back to cost Braun Strowman the Battle Royal, so I'm going with Bray Wyatt.
I don't know. I feel like something's gonna happen with Michael Che and Colin Jost being in it, and Braun Strowman being in it, and there being a little feud between Colin Jost and Braun Strowman, as it seems. But is Seth Rollins in it?
Nah, because you're trusting Lesnar. That's the problem. People don't even know who's in it. They don't do a good job.
I don't even know it's I'm gonna say Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar.
He's also not in it. It's all the people that aren't in
sorry,
matches.
Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman. I see what you're doing.
I'm sorry, I forgot about. I forgot the names. I was mixing up the names. I'm sorry.
That is absolutely fine.
Braun Strowman is absolutely gonna win.
We switch up names all the time. Sometimes part of live radio, man. It's part of live radio.
One thing we do know, the Lucha House Party will not win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle.
No, I don't know who I'm going with on here. I think that it wouldn't surprise me if we saw Gronkowski slide somehow. It wouldn't surprise me if they're building up this whole Michael Che Colin Jost thing for a reason. So there's some sort of like more of an entertainment versus actual like serious wrestling angle going on here. So I'm just kind of more focused on that. So I mean, it's whatever pans out from that. It would be cool to see it come back and like something like that too, like Bray or something, whatever the case may be. But it's probably going to be Braun or I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, Braun, whatever. I'll go there.
I just think it'd be cool with Colin like doing the heel stuff where he summons Bray Wyatt to go after Braun Strowman. It's like, you're not going to get your hands on us.
Right.
Yeah.
Real quick. Last year, if anyone doesn't know, last year at the Battle Royale, I'm pretty sure Bray Wyatt came back in that, didn't he?
Yeah, he helped Matt Hardy win.
Yeah, and then that's where they.
Oh, I didn't even remember that.
And then that's why they became whatever tag team they became. I can't remember the name, but it was amazing.
See, little kids have better memories than us because they don't have all this nonsense that they have to focus on all the time. So I totally forgot about that.
Delete.
And see, and that shows that like us in the wrestling bubble why like this match and how there's the over complaining about Che and Jost and whatever when it really ultimately doesn't matter because we tend to forget. And that was a cool moment. Nice pickup. I totally that was wiped from my memory from the cerebellum.
I think the ladies one will be easier to pick in from the litter here. There's I have the list here. I'll read it real quick. We got the Riot Squad obviously in it. Mickie James, Dana Brooke, Asuka, Carmella, Naomi, Lana, Mandy Rose, according to Corey Grace, God's Grace Creation, Sonya Deville, Selena Vega, and Nikki Cross. I'll go here. I'll go Asuka as a consolation prize since everybody's been butthurt over her losing the SmackDown Women's Championship last week. So I'll go with Asuka.
Okay, Now, I want Nikki Cross to win, but let's face it, it's not going to happen. I don't know who is, but I definitely think that Lacey Evans somehow is going to come into this.
Again, didn't even think
That's a good pick.
That's a real good pick. I didn't think about
Somehow
that.
she's going to get into this. Not saying that she's going to win or anything, but somehow she's going to get in it.
I won't lie. I'll have a good laugh if she just walks down to the ramp during that match and just walks to the back.
Yeah.
Exactly, because that's probably what she's going to do.
I like your idea with Nikki Cross. I'm actually hoping that maybe she wins Money in the Bank this year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Mandy Rose on this one.
Okay.
Me too.
I just and now you're like me too. I think that I don't know. I just feel like they probably have big plans for her, and I think they should. She's a captivating character. I understand obviously it's one of the more risque characters.
Yes.
But she does hold her own in the ring. It's not like she can't tell a story. Her storyline has been engaging. Yeah, I mean, she still has a great partnership going on with Sonya Deville. We still have to see either some sort of fallout or continuation on what's going on with them. So, I am gonna go with God's greatest creation, Mandy Rose, in this one.
All right, Buddy Murphy, Tony Nese Cruiserweight Championship. I'm very excited for this match. This should be a lot of fun. I'm going with Buddy Murphy to retain, however.
I don't really know Tony Nese that well. I've seen him in games and stuff, so I'm just gonna go Buddy Murphy because that's really that's the only person that I know out of this match is Buddy Murphy.
Tony Nese has a bunch of abs like Finn Balor.
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
He doesn't wear a stupid leather jacket though. I mean, I didn't know we're still shooting the Grease movie in 2019.
I know you're so stuck on that. I don't mind Balor's leather. I don't mind Balor's leather, but
give me the demon, damn it.
Yeah, but that demon on Monday was a little bit too much blackface. But that's it was. I was uncomfortable with the paint on Monday. It's been borderline before. It made me uncomfortable on Monday. That's just a personal thing. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it just was a little too borderline for me. That's all.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't watch 205 Live enough to know what kind of push Tony Nese is getting right now. So I'm just gonna stay with Buddy Murphy.
All right. So 3 matches on the kickoff show for everybody to keep score at home. We have 12 matches on the main show. So if you guys do not want to watch the WrestleMania kickoff show, you can save an extra 2 hours and watch WrestleMania for 5 hours this year. All right, here we go. Let's start off really quick with this one. Samoa Joe against Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship. I'm going to go with Samoa Joe.
Joe or Mysterio?
Definitely not Mysterio, so definitely Samoa Joe.
Yeah, I'm going with Joe on this one too.
Bobby Lashley against the Demon. This is going to be quick. The Demon. I find it ironic that he only wants to appear on New York shows. Like anytime there's a SummerSlam or any pay-per-view in New York, the Demon will pop up. So I'm going to go with Finn Balor here.
Nice pickup.
I am going to take... I hate Bobby Lashley, so I'm going to go Finn Balor because I hate Bobby Lashley so much.
Do you hate Leo Rush equally or more?
Lio Rush definitely is hated much, much more. Very annoying little
I love Lio
bug.
Rush.
He's a tiny bug, and he is very annoying.
Babby.
I love Lio Rush. He grew on me so much. I love Lio Rush. You know what? I am gonna go with. I'm gonna go in this one with Balor as well. I mean, I think if they're busting out the paint, he rarely loses in the paint. So
Right.
I'm gonna go with Balor with this one.
I gotta say, Beth Phoenix had a good showing for herself Monday during her match. It's cool to see her back. She hasn't lost a step, so let's talk about that match right now. Boston Hug Connection, Bayley and Sasha Banks against Beth Phoenix and Natalya, formerly known Divas of Doom. Iconics against Nia Jackson. To me, this is a four-way match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. I'm going to go with Bayley and Sasha Banks in this one. I know a lot of people want the Iconics to win, but I just feel like Bayley and Sasha are going to win for a more bigger reason. I'll explain at the end of the show.
I am going to go with Natalya and Beth Phoenix.
Nice.
Yeah, I kind of want to go with Natty and Beth too. I'd like to see Beth win the tag titles.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a big week for Natty, man. You know, her father going into the Hall of Fame this weekend.
There's another caveat added on to that, yeah.
That'd be a big moment for her. All right, next one. Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. This should be a good one. I'm gonna go with Roman in this one.
I am going to go with Drew McIntyre on this.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm actually going with Drew McIntyre on this one too.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. I think it's a good way to. I mean, Roman right now, and this is the funny part is if Roman loses, people are going to go nuts because oh my god, he comes back from leukemia and you have him lose. The same people then if he wins though would be like, of course he wins. Of course he wins as soon as he comes back. This is where like wrestling fans like talk out of it, But actually, I do think that listen, Reigns winning is the feel good story, and that's probably what should happen. I just think that this could really solidify McIntyre if he hasn't been already. Is like we've talked about this months ago, a major player post WrestleMania.
Usos against Ricochet and Aleister Black against the Bar. This match was announced on Tuesday thanks to another God's Grace creation. Alexa Bliss graces us with her presence on SmackDown this week. I thought Grace was about to have a heart attack. But don't forget Nakamura and Rusev is in this match too. So this will be a four-way match for the SmackDown tag. Nakazawa?
You say Michael Nakazawa.
I don't know. Maybe he could replace Nakamura in this match at this point. I don't know.
That's actually the sad part is that Nakamura has been kind of lost in the shuffle of all this, and that's sad.
Yeah. I'm excited for this match. I kind of hope this one starts off the show. I'm a big Uso guy. I'm very biased towards those guys, but I am going with Ricochet and Aleister Black.
I am definitely not going with Rusev and Nakamura because that's not even possible. So, and I'm going with Ricochet and Aleister Black too.
That's what people said about Zack Ryder a couple years ago. Let me see. You know what? I don't want to look too deep into the Ricochet Aleister Black stuff just because we don't know what's going to happen at TakeOver. Just because we don't know what their post WrestleMania plans are. Right. Are they going to split? Are they going to this and that? Man, this one is a little more difficult. I'm gonna go with, and this is the Usos. This is the Usos one, right? The Usos titles. Usos retain. To me, they retain. I mean, they're still, them and arguably New Day were tag teams of the year. So I mean, I say New Day retain, or I'm sorry, Usos retain.
I think it's pretty cool that these guys will be on the main show this year as well.
Yes.
If they can start off the show, I think it'd be a good tone setter for the show. So I'm happy for those guys. All right. Shane McMahon against The Miz. Falls count anywhere. I actually am going with Shane McMahon in this match.
I don't know. I'm going to drop out of this one.
You're dropping out of this.
Yeah, I'm just going to be dropping out of that one.
I'd love to see Miz's dad turn on him.
Oh, my God.
Think about it. It'd be amazing. And call him a disappointment, and call just everything that, like, you know, all the stuff that Miz said. You know, if they wanted to turn Miz, and with Miz and Mrs. coming out now, they could really play into that because they want ratings. They want him to be a good. I mean, actually, it doesn't really matter. Miz can just be Miz, and they can, you know, fluctuate him either way.
Right.
But that's just my fantasy booking side of things. Ultimately, man, it's tough because Shane rarely loses, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna pick Miz on this one.
The reason I'm picking Shane in this match is because I think that Shane's gonna bring in Lars Sullivan as his protector in the scenario. So it's something I had a feeling that may happen. Something I've been thinking about for the last couple weeks. I think it does come to fruition. You don't air these video packages for nothing and then just have Lars Sullivan be released in a couple weeks. You know, something's got to happen with this dude where he's going to appear on Raw or SmackDown. So I'm going with Shane McMahon, as Broken Matt Hardy used to say. All right, here we go. AJ Styles and Randy Orton. I'm going with AJ Styles.
I ironically with my name, I'm going with AJ Styles because I hate Randy Orton, and this definitely going with Randy Orton.
Hate.
You know, I'm actually more excited for this match than I thought I was going to be. I'll go with AJ Styles as well, though.
Yeah, this match is going to be awesome. I'm very excited for this match. A match that a lot of people are cold on for obvious reasons, but I think Baron Corbin's been doing a very good job over the last couple of weeks. Kurt Angle, Baron Corbin, Kurt Angle's retirement. Do we see John Cena at all during this match or not? Either way, I think
we never see John Cena. What kind of question is that?
That's a good point. You got me on that one. Man.
Well, I'm here.
Either way, I do see Kurt Angle right off the sunset with a win, so I'm going to go with Kurt Angle.
I am going to go with Kurt Angle as well.
You know what? You always want to leave on your back. You know what I mean? And I mentioned it last week, though. This is a scenario where maybe because it is Kurt Angle and everything he's done and accomplished and everything, you know, maybe he's one of the guys that does go out with a win. I'm actually still picking Baron Corbin.
Kurt Angle versus neck surgery.
No, but yeah, I am picking Baron Corbin in this one because I ultimately think, I don't know, who cares what I think, to be honest. But no, man, you know, I just think that it could be a good way to. I feel like they're gonna have big plans for Baron Corbin.
Yeah,
and this could be, as fans, we don't really remember that last match. We don't. No. You know, I think Baron Corbin's promo was honestly really, really, really good and a lot more honest than what we remember. You know what I mean? Rarely do we remember anyone's last match or their retirement match. Or Flair is the exception, really. You know, I mean, there's a couple exceptions. Flair's is absolutely one that stands out. You know, so I'm gonna go with Corbin.
It's very rare where you have heels like him these days, and the amount of hate that this dude gets every single place that he goes to. The fact that I ever thought that Chicago would chant "We want Cena" towards Baron Corbin gives him more validity than anything else, man. That dude is killing it right now as a heel, man. I love what he's doing.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, next one. Triple H and Batista, another match I'm excited for. No holds bar match. If Triple H loses, he must retire from in-ring competition. I don't think that'll happen. I'm going with Triple H.
I am going with Triple H as well.
Yes, I love Big Dave, but I think this is obviously his swan song. You know what I mean? And I can't see Triple H, you know, doing the in-ring competition thing yet. Maybe there's always that, you know, we never thought Taker would lose either to Lesnar, but I think this one's still Triple H.
I think you kind of felt that too during Raw this Monday with the video package and him being in his hometown and this. I feel like everything they've done so far with this feud has been for Batista. This is everything Batista wanted to do to leave his career with the WWE. So.
I agree with that, and I'll even take it a step further that they kind of he had his little video promo, but his first actual appearance back on WWE television was at the scene of the crime, was at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right? I mean, it was right where the whole wrecking ball of the, his last run, how it all unraveled was because of just us idiot fans, So it was nice to kind of have him go back to the scene of the crime, kind of restart it. And you're right. I mean, it kind of does feel like a thank you, Dave kind of tour as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave tour. And Big Dave will probably go to the Hall of Fame next year. They're in
Big Dave's the man. I love Batista.
And I love him switching different shades depending on whether it's Raw or SmackDown. I still get a kick out of that.
Well, yeah. I mean, ain't nobody going to tell him not to wear them. I know that. I'm not.
All right. Kofi Mania. Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston. What goes down? Let's start off with AJ. Who you got in this match?
I am going to say Kofi Kingston wins. And I feel like somehow somebody is going to interfere. Whether it's Kevin Owens or somebody else, somebody's going to interfere. But I think it might be Kevin Owens.
I mean, in a weird way, I could almost see, if Bray Wyatt was to make a return, I could see Bray Wyatt screwing over Daniel Bryan.
I can do that too.
And one, because of the Rowan connection. Two, because of their feuds in the past. I think that could be something. And we don't know what Bray Wyatt we're getting when he comes back anyway. It seems like, unfortunately, because of social media and the way that the world is these days, his personal life's a little more transparent. I mean, people know, it's people know that him and JoJo are having a kid together and stuff like that. And do you make him do you make him still the almost mythical character that he was, or do you just make him kind of like the anti-establishment badass? You know what I mean? Where the promos are in a way similar promos. It's not like you would really have to change a tire. I mean, he could, I'd kind of like to see that Bray Wyatt, and I think that Bray Wyatt versus the holier than thou Daniel Bryan, the new Daniel Bryan right now, that could be a really interesting back and forth feud. So, but I do think, but that's all, I do think that Kofi wins this. I think that and we can look at this many different ways through many different lessons, but here's one thing I know. Regardless of how you feel about WWE, how it's treated its black performers before, champions, has there been enough? Is there, does The Rock count? All these trivial conversations that always happen. The one thing that I know to be true about this match is if Kofi Kingston, does bring home the WWE championship to finally silence all of the nonsense of that, it also does a hell of a lot for every black wrestler around the world that is on the independent scene right now, that is fighting for their spot, that, are fighting the same battles that Kofi, that is being portrayed in the storyline. I know that, it would, again, my buddy Roy Johnson over in the UK, he was on a BBC Radio 1 something. Look up the interview on the hip hop side of it. Talking about that experience and just what it is like to be, black in professional wrestling. And I'm not saying that it's a rampant problem in WWE today, guys, but what I'm saying is that they're taking a real conversation and turning it into a storyline that can potentially help out the next generation of wrestlers coming up, or the guys that are, really fighting to make it to the big stage right now. So I actually enjoy this storyline more than probably, with the exception of Becky's storyline, more than any other storyline that's going on into this Mania, and why I think Kofi absolutely comes in with the title.
I'm gonna go with Daniel Bryan.
You would
see the world bird, right? Man, people would be pissed if this dude loses, but dude, they're gonna be pissed before the show goes on air. What am I talking about?
What if Big E turned? I thought about that.
I wouldn't mind, to be honest with you, but it's not the reason why I'm going with Daniel Bryan. Going to what we talked about earlier with Jay Lethal, I think Kofi already won. The fact that he's fighting for the championship at WrestleMania this year, I think that's a victory in itself. So I know a lot of wrestling fans put a lot of stock into, this match steals the show, and that's something that they remember. I wouldn't be surprised if this match steals the show. I'm excited for it. It's like you said, it's been one of the best feuds on this road to WrestleMania. I think Daniel Bryan's going to retain, though. Selfishly, as a fan, I want to see, this has been one of the best heel championship title reigns I've seen for a long time, and Daniel Bryan's been killing it. And so is Kofi. I love their contract signing that they had on SmackDown this week. I thought it was awesome.
I did too. I felt like Kofi ran out of time. Like he needed to have a little bit more time. It felt like there was something that maybe he had to cut out. But I'll admit, selfishly, I don't want to see Daniel Bryan's championship title go away. I'm not gonna lie. That's one that I want. I need that title in my life. But me too.
The head title can't go, man. The head title. But
and this can, you're right. This can go either way, and it's still a win. And the backlash would be outrageous. I absolutely agree. I love a great heel and heel run, and it's amazing. You know, like last week we compared WrestleMania 30 to now to 35.
Right.
How the internet will just burn to the ground. 5 years ago, if Daniel Bryan would have lost, now the internet's going to burn to the ground if Daniel Bryan wins.
Yeah, especially if he cheats to win. I mean, don't be surprised if that happens.
But then like
it's a terrible finish.
Well, if there's a turn like Big E turns on him, because what about my spot? I've been here for X number of years. I've been fighting. There's so many ways they could branch off with this. I do enjoy the realism, and both guys, you're absolutely right, have carried this. I think that this is the one storyline too that got people so upset to a fever pitch of frustration. And that's important because not a lot of storylines can do that anymore. People kind of either get tired, indifferent, but people were getting frustrated with this. And when you're telling a story where you ultimately want the good guy to win at the end, you have to frustrate people throughout the story so that they have the payoff at the end. Yeah. Storytelling 101.
Well, shocker, you had episodic storytelling that didn't go over people's heads this time.
Didn't we have to break that down with Alexa Bliss winning Money in the Bank just for Rousey to pull the broken arm gimmick trickish kind of deal? Yeah, it's just the same thing over and over again.
Correct. All right, Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins Universal Championship. I am not going to be biased at this point. I feel that Brock must. I rarely do this. I don't do the bubble thing or anything like that. I know, Adam, that I have a sneaky suspicion that you may pick Brock Lesnar in this match. But for me personally, and I heard Ariel Helwani on SportsCenter the other night mention that they're planning to do Brock versus Daniel Cormier in August for the UFC Heavyweight Championship. This dude must lose. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of seeing Brock Lesnar. You want to keep Paul Heyman around? Fine. I have no issue with that. Hell, I got the t-shirt right here. For those who are watching live on YouTube, I'm a Paul Heyman guy. I have no issue with Paul Heyman. But Brock Lesnar needs to take his ass home. I'm sick and tired of him. The man, before Becky Lynch became the man, Seth Rollins will become the man again at WrestleMania. We're going to have two mans here at WrestleMania this year. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. I'm going with Seth Rollins to beat Brock Lesnar this Sunday.
So, I really do want someone other than Brock Lesnar to win. I'm on the same page as you, but let's face it, Brock Lesnar is gonna win.
Listen, this isn't a prediction; it's a spoiler alert. And the one thing I'll say is that's always the tagline when Lesnar wins. He didn't say. He said Seth Rollins would like you to believe that this. So he did tweak it a little bit. So if there's foreshadowing, but. You know what? I don't, even with the UFC stuff, I think Lesnar retains. And I think this is the one out of the three where everybody thinks, I don't, not that they can't win. I actually it would be great if all three of them won, but I can't see Becky, although I have a theory for that match, but I can't see Becky and Kofi and, Seth all winning. And I don't necessarily know if WWE would mind Brock Lesnar showing up on UFC television with the WWE Universal Championship because there's a lot of fans that have already said, I don't care about that title. And when they hear that you don't care about that title, not that we want it back on TV, people are just, shout out to Eric, by the way. But when someone says that they just don't even consider it a championship,
right.
Well, then it's going to be used for corporate use. And if it's being used to expand the brand, you're not taking it off of Lesnar yet. And look, I'm a Rollins mark. I'm a Rollins guy. I want Rollins to win this match. I just have a feeling that if one of the three that the crowd is going to be pulling for are going to lose, it's going to be Rollins and Lesnar retains. Not saying he can't be stripped the next night, not saying he can't lose the next night, not saying he can't lose the next month. I just think that we're all looking too sure that, and I'm sure that information about the fight in, the potential fight in August, that probably got leaked and, somewhat intentionally.
Trust me, brother. Being at the show last year, I had that disappointment where I felt like this was the night Roman's going to beat Brock. This was going to happen, yada, yada, yada. It didn't happen. So it's not going to shock me if Brock wins on Sunday. It's not. I'm not saying that. As far as the cross-promotion thing, I don't know how a lot of people are going to feel about that, because you're going to have to pay extra money just to even see Brock Lesnar on UFC, because now they're doing their shows and their pay-per-views on ESPN Plus, and I'm not subscribing to ESPN Plus to see a shitty, I'm sorry, AJ, but a shitty Brock Lesnar UFC cage fight. I'm not doing it. No shot.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. He's the attraction. Like you won't, I won't, but I don't know. There's some UFC fans that would. There's some people that would just want to see him fight or win or lose, or he still is a draw, and I don't know. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I want that title back on the show, because I feel like, but the way that they're kind of it looks like they're combining championships. And
you think the brand split's ending?
I don't think the brand, man.
I think it is.
Maybe, but I feel like their talent is so deep right now. There's a lot of people that would get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Unless they're afraid that they're losing people to competition, and they don't think that they're going to be as deep past that. That's the only reason. Because even if, and we'll get to this in the main event, but even if, like, say, whoever wins the winner take all match, they can be on both shows and defend the title and still lose one of the titles and still, retain one of the titles. It's not, they didn't say yet that they're making it like a universal championship or combining the titles. It's just a winner take all to have both titles, so.
Right. So here we go. We were talking earlier about favorite WrestleMania moments. I think this next match will be that for a lot of people, and depending on how this match ends as well. We got Becky Lynch, SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte, and Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey, the main event of WrestleMania, winner take all, the biggest WrestleMania match in the last 5 to 10 years for the WWE, and I'm very excited for this. I'm at the point personally where I don't care who wins this match. I really don't. Either women that have a great chance, and deservedly so, to win this match on Sunday. I am going with Charlotte Flair, though. That is my pick for this Sunday. I'm going with Charlotte to defeat Becky and Ronda at WrestleMania. But I'm very excited for this match. It's going to be awesome. These ladies deserve it. It's been one of the best feuds in WWE television for the last couple years, and I'm very excited for this. So I'm going with Charlotte.
Okay, so the main event. Okay, I am going with Becky. I don't even have to think about it. I'm going with Becky. Mm-hmm. And on Raw, I liked what happened on Raw between the three of them, especially in the cars. The cars were hilarious.
You were big on when Becky and Ronda got thrown in the same car. You loved that.
That was the kicking fest.
Yeah, the kick fest was fun. You know what? So this is actually why, Josh, I'm actually going to take something that you said about this is probably the most important, the biggest main event in the past like 5 to 10 years. I'm going to take that back farther, because this is redefining the industry. You're never going to reinvent the wheel, but right. You can tilt it in certain directions. And to finally, after all these years, have a women's match in WrestleMania now. This isn't going to be a one-off, So now what you've done is you've created a culture in the locker room that not only are you competing against, the men that are in, like say if you're a male competitor, you're competing against the men, but you're competing against the women too.
Right.
That's a healthy locker room, and finally they're showing that the hottest storyline, the hottest wrestlers, however you want to slice it, the best thing that has been going all year long with wrestling was first Rousey coming in, and then Charlotte, Charlotte, love her, hate her, she is arguably the best women's wrestler in the world. And when Becky caught fire at SummerSlam and then really rode this out for, the 8-month, saga with the man and the man finally like ascending to the top, This is the story that they would tell with a Stone Cold Steve Austin or with a Hulk Hogan or with a whomever you want to tell, and incorporating, you know, a legacy into it, plus a mixed martial artist into it. This is opening up for that generation, you know, my daughter's generation, even the generation, you know, before her, someone that might be, you know, 10 years older than her, like 19, 20, 21 years old, something like that.
Right.
This is showing that just because you get to WWE or any wrestling promotion, it still doesn't mean that you have to play second fiddle to the men. It's showing that you have to get there, and there is an equal playing field, whether people want to admit it or not. Yes, the stars aligned perfectly this year, and I understand that's a huge reason why this is happening. But Becky Lynch would not be in this match if not for the fans. They do hear us. They absolutely hear us, and don't think this is the last time it's going to happen. And I think, you know, a lot of the old heads that watch wrestling, it's probably going to piss them off, because now it's not, you know, they're you know, they know that there's going to be WrestleManias when women are going to main event because they just were better that year. Period.
Right.
Period. End of story.
Still, I feel like a lot of those older people, the people that we mentioned here in the bubble, either way, they're gonna find something to be salty about in this main event.
For sure.
And I'm not worried about that stuff this weekend. I'm just gonna watch.
No, yeah, but I'm just
show. But
yeah, I'm just saying
people are gonna find a way to moan about it.
Right, but I'm just saying the importance of this match, I think, is it should not get lost on people, because like 5 to 10 years, absolutely. I mean, you could say that this is the most important match really in the past 20 to 30, just because of look at all the women's matches in WrestleMania and what really they've been. They're definitely not wrestling the Miller Lite girls, are they? Because my first WrestleMania, it was like Tori Wilson and I think Stacy Keibler, or no. Who was it against the like Miller Lite girls or something?
Was Coach involved in that?
Maybe, but either way, we've come a long way, and it's overdue. It's been well overdue. And you know, and again, this does put, and they always say putting pressure on a locker room, whether it's whatever side it is. It just makes the locker room a better place. Competition breeds success. Right, yeah. So with that being said, now when you know you're not just battling your peers when it comes to gender, but you're battling the other locker room, because it's about who is entertaining the best. To me, this main event is more than just a 5 to 10 year thing. This is a generational this is an enormous main event. I want Becky Lynch to win. I think Becky's the right choice. I think Becky, this is how the story should break down. This is, and you know, I do think Charlotte's probably walking out with the championships, with both championships though. But I still think this is set up to Charlotte doesn't need it though. Ronda doesn't need it, and I'm not saying Becky does though. This is their chance to really make an absolute superstar out of Becky Lynch. They already have her, you know, in her WWE Studios movies. They're kind of utilizing her in different ways. I think they'd be foolish not to put both titles on her right now. Put the rocket ship on her, because right now they absolutely could make Becky Lynch into a superstar, and this is something that her and the fans have done. Yeah, her mostly. Let's face it, it's not like we're training with her. It's been Becky Lynch's brainstorm, but without the fan response, it wouldn't have got to this.
And they have been listening. I mean, you're having Mania. I mean, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Most of this WrestleMania card has been for those hardcore wrestling fans, but also. It's funny, like I was AJ's age when the Miller Lite catfight girls were the norm. I was 9 during that time period. And here we are 15 years later, and now they're going to have probably the biggest WrestleMania match for a long time, and I'm very excited for it. It's going to be a blast. So that's our predictions for WrestleMania 35 coming up this weekend. But before we head out, any final words from our superstar here, Miss AJ?
Nope, no final words.
Nope.
No final words at all, except always fast forward to the end on YouTube for me.
Well, people don't listen to us on YouTube. We just tape on YouTube. This will be the time when we would plug what outlets we're on, but I don't even know what outlets we're on. So check us out on whatever podcasting, right?
Yes,
there you go.
Whatever. I don't care.
There you go. There's the famous last words. Plug away and listen away, I guess. That's the way that breaks down.
Yes, sir. So we're going to have a very busy weekend coming up for WrestleMania 35. Adam, you mentioned something about the Joker you wanted to say really quick.
Yeah, listen. So the official trailer is out. It came out yesterday, I believe. Actually, yeah, it did. It was #1 trending on YouTube yesterday.
Yeah, I haven't
good reason
watch it yet.
Listen, it is, from what I see, it is getting mixed reviews, and I love that it's getting mixed reviews. There's a couple spots in the trailer that if you kind of know what's going on, they already hinted at a couple of different little things. Bruce Wayne, there's a little cameo of him in the trailer. If people didn't realize it, I really like the direction they're going with it. Check it out. I've seen some people say they're kind of not feeling it. For me, this feels like I'll admit I was concerned as a Joker fan of what they were going to do with this. This looks like what it should be. Right. This looks like, and I like that they didn't really give away too much of the backstory because they don't, because this is going to be so unique. It's going to be a part of that DC Red or DC Black or whatever they're calling it. I think DC Red. But because it's going to be a part of that line where they're going to start going with grittier storylines, kind of and this does have more of a 1980s gang movie type of feel, crime type of movie feel, than a comic book movie feel. So I think that this would be a great backstory for the Joker we came to know and love in The Dark Knight, if that's what this really does end up being. But check out the trailer. You're not going to really get much out of it. But I mentioned earlier in the show, like I don't really have time for that many movies and stuff like that anymore. Just be, whatever. It's hard for me to sit through. But this is one that I'm really, 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 really excited about. And I was kind of down on it at first. But it looks like Joaquin Phoenix is gonna just totally own this role, and I'm excited, man. I'm real excited.
I'm excited for it too, and I feel like always when it comes to Joker and these like popular comic book characters that come through the movies, as long as it's not so over the top where you can't take the characters seriously, I think this is gonna be a fascinating movie, and I hope it works out for him. I really do. So, all right. Anyway, so make sure to check out the Joker. It's gonna be fun. Go check out the trailer and let us know what you think. But most importantly, enjoy this WrestleMania weekend. It's going to be a blast. It's been our 150th episode of the Hoots Podcast. Thank you guys for all the support. As always, we're grateful. We don't do this without you guys. So thank you guys for everything. I really mean that. Make sure to check out all my articles at ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. Make sure to follow myself on Twitter and Instagram at the Hoots Podcast. Same thing goes for Adam on Instagram, AdamDaley13. Thank you for our superstar AJ coming on the show as always. It's a blast having her on the show. Enjoy WrestleMania weekend, folks. It'll be a lot of fun, a lot of wrestling. Any final words before we head off here, Adam?
Yeah, like I said, it's so much wrestling, but just remember, like, pace yourself. You don't got to watch every match. Get up, walk around, talk to somebody, have some fun. And if you're complaining about it, but would sit down for 60 straight hours, I mean, yeah. that's like I said, it's come on, man. Like let's rethink our logic here. This is supposed to be the biggest weekend of the year for us. This is supposed to be as wrestling fans. I'm looking forward to it. Like when you're running down the card, it made me realize like how much like I am actually this card. I really, really enjoy this card, Right. So Viva la WrestleMania, I guess. And shout out to any of my buddies that are up there. And don't worry, we shall be meeting soon.
There's been far worse cards. I mean, you mentioned earlier, WrestleMania 9.
Yeah. I use that as such a scapegoat, though. I do. I always go to WrestleMania 9.
Crazy. I think that's the one WrestleMania I don't go back to watch. I heard that like, I don't know, 4 or 6 wasn't that great either. But
I loved 4. I love the tournament aspect of it.
I had to watch it back. Anyways, man, thank you guys so much for checking out this week's edition of the Hoop Podcast. Enjoy WrestleMania. We'll recap it for you guys next week. And don't be a Nimrod. How about that? We'll close off with that. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We love you guys. Peace.